Hello everyone, my name is Antonio and I'll be showing you how to create this input form right here inside of our Profound UI designer. So let's begin. So the first thing you'll want to do is, well, for this example we'll be using a canvas size of the iPad. So we'll just select that one. We have other ones listed here as well. And if you wanted to create your own, you could select edit sizes and define your own size for a device. So after selecting this canvas, we'll choose mobile device layout. If you click here, it'll expand it to the full size of the canvas, and it'll resize automatically whenever you rotate. We'll take off the bottom bar, so that's done with the bottom bar property for the layout. This gives us some more room to work with. Next up, we'll use the accordion layout. So the accordion layout basically is just different sections that you can click on. It's kind of like a tab panel, except it looks a little more modern. So for just a quick example, you could put different items in each one. And so when you click on one, it'll just show whatever it contains inside of it. So let's get rid of these because we don't need them. Oops. Well, I'll just create a new accordion layout. So we want the accordion layout to expand to the whole size of the mobile layout. So up here we have these buttons that let you define each widget by percent sizes. So in this case we'll want width 100 and height 100. And for the accordion we want to flatten all the edges so that it looks nice. And for the header theme, for this example, I'll be using black. There's a few options here for the headers, as well for the body theme, but for the most part we'll be using gray. The other colors look a little strange. Alright, so next up, let's change the section names for the accordion. So in this case, for this one, we'll want to use client information. So here you define the title for each section, separated by commas. In this case, if I put only one, I lose all the other sections. But since we won't be working with the other ones, I'll just give them different names. I'll just give them names of section. And that's how you add different sections as well. So the reason we use percentages though for the accordion and for the layouts is because on rotation this allows the widget to automatically resize for the new sizes of the device based on its rotation. So as you can see here, everything expands fully. This allows you to have cross-compatibility with a bunch of different devices of variant sizes. So next we'll want to start creating the input form. For that we'll choose a CSS panel. We'll use gray. And we won't need a header, so let's remove that. And so what we're going to be doing is resizing this. To basically, we'll be using this and resizing it so that it looks just like the example, the completed example. So let me expand that. So we want to emulate this look. So the way we do that is we take one of these panels and let's rotate back. Give it a width of 95%. And using the straight edge property, we'll straighten out the edges. So for the top, we'll only straighten out the bottom. For the middle sections, we'll keep it all straight, and for the bottom section, we'll only straighten out the top. So I'll go ahead and do this, and we'll skip ahead to that completed portion. So this is what it'll look like after completing it using the CSS panels. So as you can see, for some of these middle ones, these have a property of straight edge all. And for the top, you only flatten the bottom, and for the bottom, you only flatten the top. So that gives you this look right here. And the reason we use percentages for the left and for the width is so that upon rotation, everything sizes correctly, as you can see here. So the next step will be to add some labels to this. So that's really easy. Just drop them in here, give them the values you need. So for the sake of time, I'll just do that really quick and I'll skip ahead. So here are the labels after that it's all said and done. And here are the values I set for it. Basically, they all have the text line left in common and the left 5%. Again, the percentages are so when you rotate, everything looks good. Alright, next up is time to give some values to these input fields. So I'll show you how to do that right now. This next step consists of taking a text box, placing it where you need it to be in the form, As you can see right now, you can't see the text box, but that is because it's going to need a z index value so that it's placed on top of everything. So in this case, I'll just use 20. Now you can see it. But it does look strange having some of the CSS applied to this text box, so for its CSS class, we'll want to use transparent text box. So as you can see, a lot of the borders and background colors disappear. We'll want to bind its value to, in this case, it'll be contact. And I believe the length we'll want to make it is, let's make it 50. So it's basically, for a few of these, contact, address, city, zip, phone, email, next visit, and notes. That's what it consists of doing, so I'll go ahead and do that, and we'll skip ahead. So I made a few adjustments, so it might look a little weird. I shifted these up a little higher and the labels, but anyways, here are the text box values that are similar, so I put them in already. So all of these have a left of 28, width of 65 as the index of 20, and the transparent text box CSS class so that they look like this. And just to show you, and they'll all resize correctly upon a rotation. Well, actually, yeah. Alright. So next up is I'll do state next. So now next for the state, I think it makes sense to use a drop-down box, so that's what I'll be using for this. So the first thing I'll want to do is give it a z index of 20, like I've been doing with everything else. So let's go ahead and do that. I want to apply the CSS class that I've been using as well, so the transparent text box. Let's position it in the correct spot as well. 28% seems to be what I've been using. But let's make it a little wider. Alright, so next let's give this some values. So for this example, we'll just hard code some values for the state, which can be done by going into choices, defining some values that will be comma separated. In this case, I'll just copy over what we have from the finished example. Let's just do that. Control C, Control V, enter. And so it automatically resizes to fit the longest choices. Now for choice values, in this case, we'll want to return the 2-letter abbreviation, so we'll just place that here. So what this means is that whatever value you bound, whatever RPG field you bind to the value of this text box will receive this value based on what they choose. So California will return CA. So in this case, we'll need to bind the value to a 2-letter field called state. Which brings another point I forgot to mention. So each of these is also going to be bound to an RPG field. So contact, address, notes. So these are the fields that are going to receive your values once the screen is submitted. So now for zip, phone, email, status, next visit, they also have similar, well, not status, but the rest of them have a similar upload field. So I'll go ahead and put that in and skip ahead. So here I've copied over these fields. Zip, phone, email, next app, same as before, 28%. C index of 20, well 21 in this case, not that it matters. And they all have the CSS class of transparent text box. So if I click, let's see if I can just click an individual one, you'll see that each of these is also bound to an RPG variable. As I stated before, this is how they will be controlled. And then as you can see, when I rotate everything, size is reasonably nice. That is due to the percentages. Alright, so next up all I have left is the status field. For the status field I'll be using an on-off switch, which is basically a slider that lets you slide to choose a different option, an on-off. I can't showcase it in the designer, but if I were to show you preview or on runtime, you would see that when you click it, value will slide on and off. This makes more sense on a mobile device where you're going to be using the touch to slide this on and off. So let me go ahead and set the correct property values for this. Just a moment. So we have the completed on-off switch, 20%, 5%. So really what we do here is we bind its value to an RPG field. In this case we chose one called active, which is an indicator. And then we define its property values for on and off. In this case, on will return a 1, off will return a 0. We define the text for these with active and inactive, which associates with the value. So when a user chooses active, that'll return a 1 to the active indicator and 0 to the active indicator if they choose the off text. So that's how that works. So that basically sums up everything for the input form. For the next video, I will show you how to add these buttons right here, map, call, email, and update, which add functionality to your form and the ability to submit it to the screen. So my name is Antonio. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you for the next video.